All right, guys, that is going to bring us up to our featured guest segment, and we will be right back with Black Oak, Arkansas's Jim Dandy after this.
I was sitting on a mountaintop, 30,000 feet to drive. Spotted a lady on a runaway horse. Let's ride a course. Jim Dandy to the rescue.
Wow. Guys, that song was written by Lincoln Chase and covered in 1973 by Black Oak, Arkansas. It hit number 25 on the pop chart and featured Jim Mangrum, who had already been using Jim Dandy as a stage name before they covered the song, and female vocalist Ruby Starr trading off vocals. It was the first single from their 1973 album, High on the Hog, the band's most commercially successful album. Well, we are back. Our featured guest segment is sponsored by Hip and Hippie. Hip and Hippie is a planet-loving company known for its high-quality, earth-friendly, 100% recyclable candle line and natural body care products. It's no wonder eco-supporting people love Hip and Hippie, hipandhippie.com. Before I bring him on, I want to tell you a little bit about my guest. Jim Dandy Mangrum is the last of the rock and roll superheroes. Still clutching his signature washboard, still clad in white leather, and with flowing blonde hair, the man who invented Southern rock in the very southern state of Arkansas back in 1965 has weathered every bad season, overcome every obstacle, and bested every cheating rat-fink and politician that has crawled his way. In their 40-plus years in rock and roll, Jim Dandy and his Black Oak, Arkansas bandmates have gone from teenage outlaw hippies to authentic rock gods with gold records and stadium tours, with every rags to riches variant in between. They may not have had their private compound in the Ozarks anymore, or even an army of roadies, but integrity, spirit, and gumption they've still got plenty of. Let's welcome Jim Dandy to Barside Jive on the air. How's it going, Jim?
DC, we're going fine. Fine and dandy, I guess you'd say. Man, there's somebody here, Ruby, on the Jim Dandy thing. Wasn't she something?
Oh, my God. Dude, I got to tell you, the first time I saw you guys, it was on Midnight Special. I was in high school, and I loved that show. And, you know, the guitars, you were like larger than life, and, you know, no shirt, all that hair, those tight pants, and that raspy ass voice. I mean, I was just like, wow. I mean, it was so different than anything I'd seen.
Well, you know, different. We've had that word used a lot. We've been called that a lot. We would have done what they was doing in New York and LA if we'd known what they were doing, but in Arkansas, you don't get a whole lot, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, it was an adventure, and really, you know, I think that David Bowie, besides me, on the same week, we both wore spandex. But I remember the first time I saw spandex was on an opera thing where Rudolph Nureyev, my third wife, Nancy, Piper's mom, went by to turn channels. We was up in the lodge. And I said, "What kind of material is that?" 'Cause I kept ripping out of my blue jeans doing the splits, you know. And I was getting tired of having patches on all of the blue jeans right in the same spot.
Yeah.
But it's like, she said, that's girdle material. It's shiny on one side and dull on the other, and it's called spandex. I said, "Well, make me a pair of pants out of that, make back pockets and fly in them, you know." And, man, I tell you what, just like them baseball players, football players nowadays, they ain't never going to go back to that old material once they tried that stuff. Because, man, it's like you can do anything where you didn't have any, you know, idea of what it was going to be like.
Right.
Sure, boy. And I'll tell you, somebody else, I think Disco would have kind of ripped off my idea with the back pockets and the fly, but that's okay. Everybody else does. I got it for nothing. They ain't never for nothing.
Well, let me say right up front that I've got to do a shout out to Piper, your daughter, and Ricky Lee, because they're the folks that I reached out to and that made this happen. And so I appreciate. I know they've both been in your life a long time, and I appreciate them both. So that was awesome.
Ricky's been in my life longer than she has. Actually, he's been with me since ninth grade, on and off.
Yeah. Wow. And you guys are the last of the original band, right?
We did the last or first, I don't know. You know, I can't figure out where the circle starts and stops. But there's people out there older than me, and I know I'm older than you. I moved back to Black Oak, and everybody there's old, and they're all younger than me. It's like kind of trippy, But finally, I couldn't stand thinking about the old family house going for sale or something.
Yeah.
And now I'm living there. I figure I can have excitement anywhere, and I can always come back there where it's peace. Got full-length screened-in porch in the front with a swing, porch swing.
Yeah.
Me and my grandkids can get out there and swing on the porch swing together.
Wow.
In the morning, first joint in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, it's legal there, but it just ain't recreational. Maybe by the end of the year it'll be recreational.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good days, They used to show them movies like Reefer Madness.
Yeah.
Where you be banging babies' heads against trees if you smoke that marijuana, it goes to harder stuff.
Hey, Jim, now, when you see videos like I just played, of you when you were a younger guy on stage with Ruby and the guys, the original band, I mean, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see those videos?
How exciting it was for us. Nobody from where we come from, nobody ever makes it at all by the time you're 21, okay? And they sure never let us get away with it the first time, because, what you see there is some guys knowing they done got their foot in the door, and this is going to be a hell of a fucking time, okay? What a day it's going to be. We're going to make sure it was, too.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, I said, guys, we ain't going to remember all this. Just make sure we get it all done. Let's try to do it as best we can. We've always believed in having sight as well as sound in our concerts, I don't think Southern rock ought to get to where we think we're so good, all we do is stand flat-footed there, whether we got shoes on or not.
Right.
I think we ought to respect a good show. In the South, hell, you had Jerry Lee Lewis, James Brown, Elvis Presley, people that were proud to sweat blood for their entertaining people, And, I'm an older man now. I'm an old soldier. But, hell, it's sort of like the Stones. Stones are older than us. And, man, they've been doing the same music all their life. And
yeah.
They've got to know what they're doing by now. And they're having a lot of fun, and I love it,
Yeah.
And they're probably one of my favorites, But I liked all the old ones, the ones with the Horsemen, the Apocalypse and all the shit that happened with the, Bob Dylan being, one thing that Christians and folk music people agree on is rock and roll is the devil's music, right?
Right.
But, to me, Bob Dylan and Muhammad Ali were people that went against more than just, it wasn't just the business, okay? It wasn't just rock and roll, and it wasn't just, it's like they were learning how to be an audience like we were learning how to be there. In the old days when it first started, when you had Jerry Lee and Elvis, they didn't have, it was no such thing as a rock star, and there was no such thing as groupies.
Yeah.
But they had to label everything, and not only that, but they've more or less kind of divided it up like churches do Christianity.
Right. Jim, have you ever met any of the Stones?
Oh yeah. We were playing a concert in the Paramount Theater in California, and we were headlining.
Uh-huh.
And this promoter surprised. We had Chuck Berry as a special guest in the middle, okay?
Wow.
And we were friends with Chuck that night too. But everybody, the promoter didn't tell Chuck about it, but he surprised him with his group. Chuck didn't care usually, but this is different. This is where it all first got started between Keith and Chuck, where it ended up being where he had all them different famous rock stars sitting with their CB in front of them, in that video that they took years to do.
Right.
The biggest hit they ever had was when he knocked Keith out and Chuck. But we met them that night because they were playing in the band, and Keith and Bianca were back there backstage at the same time. And it was one of those nights, so, I don't care who you are, that's fucking Mick Jagger and the goddamn Rolling Stones. That's Chuck motherfucking Berry. And, what are we going to do? I don't know, but I wish I could watch it too. Whatever it is. But they had a guy jump like do a Belushi off the balcony. If you've ever been to Paramount Theater off Hollywood, it's kind of in the round.
Uh-huh.
And he grabbed the drapes on each side of that theatrical type stage and tore down to the floor of the stage off the top of the balcony. And also this girl that was looking at me from way back in, I'd say about the 16th row of festival seating. And she's looking at me like I'm, second coming or something. Like she got to get you. By the time she tore through she's getting to about the 8th row, she's getting pretty serious about it. By the time she got to me and latched on to me, man, she wanted to kill me. And she was a pretty big girl. And we had all these guys who were muscle bound, you know, Santa Monica guys, and pumping iron and all this stuff, and had to try to be dudes. None of them could break her grip off of me. And also at the end of the night, I slung my hair back, got it wrapped around Ricky's 12 string. And they had both of us pulling us while we're playing. She always told the band, don't ever stop the music, because, you know, that's when fights happen. That's when people get shot or killed. That's when people get pregnant. And we, you know, whenever you got a still moment in the show. And you kind of got to think about that, you know, it's like on the world stage. And just, we never done it before in our life. I just came from a town, and I'm back there now, sort of to be animated. But it's, you know, it's like going through a time machine to leave Black Oak and go out there. And it was the third, well, when we first made it, it was the third time we went to California, and it was the last leg of the pre-beach, okay? They had the Legion Park, Griffith Park, out at the beach and everything. So out there, you could have from 5 to 10, 15,000 people at the free thing.
Yeah.
Okay, and I didn't know that I could do it with a big crowd. I never imagined it, you know?
Yeah.
And we were out there doing those things, but we couldn't have come back then anyway, because they ran us out of town in Memphis anyway. That's where I'm at right now, because we were doing these commercials for like Just Say No, but it wasn't yet. They hadn't started that yet, about kids don't do drugs or anything. And, you know, bands, today it's almost the same way. If you ain't in 5 bands, you're going to have other means of cash flow. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes it's a little bit on the black market side. I still would rather go through my weed in the black market. I don't want to, in Arkansas, if you have one of those cards, go get the, you know, I'm glad they got the dispensers. I would have one in Black Oak, actually. But the thing is, you can't, they tell you can't own a gun. Now, I'm not that big of a gun freak. I mean, we pissed off all the gun people when we had that peninsula out there with the lodge, and they were shooting people's cattle and everything. They were making a line of hunters walking down again this peninsula, this man-made lake. You know, and not just killing deer, you know. But we made it where they had to do bow and arrows, you know. Boy, they got pissed. But, you know, made it a little bit, we was living up there too, you know.
Yeah.
We had a 12-foot oak fence, which now, man, we never did waterproof it really good. And now it's still up there, and it's like, well, it's colorful. Yeah, it's colorful. But those were days whenever, I never decided to have that, but I decided to have it for my kids. Man, you know, they asked me, and more of them are fascinated right there than they are anywhere, is where you come from, you know.
Yeah.
How did you was kind of quiet guy when you were here. All right, so for all the fights you had, you know, and I was only a first and only long hair in Arkansas for, well, between 62 and 63 in that area. And by the time the Beatles came out of the Caesar cut, I almost had a page for it. And, but really, you know, they made us what we are. And it's that night when we was playing with Chuck Berry, he turned around and took Keith and told him, "You got all my riffs, you want my stage too? I ain't got but one guitar and I'm holding it." And Keith bows his head and walks off, picks up his cocaine cigarette and everything, walks off. And they were great that night, and Chuck was great that night. And
did Mick or Keith or any of them say anything to you?
Yeah, they were gentlemen.
Yeah.
They always have gentlemen with us.
Yeah.
And in fact, Mick even said something about me. And we was having this contest, which was something that was going on, and they had the Tonight Show on TV, but we had this electric pipe hooked up to, you know, hooked up to a gas mask that we had hooked up, and see who could stay conscious longest. You know what I mean? Like, and I was on. He said something about. They asked him about who's any young frontmen or anything in young bands out there today, and he mentioned me in Black Oak. And they never told me till 2 days later because I was under the gas mask at the time, and smoke was getting thick. And you know, we've always been a big smoking band. We really, you know, I quit twice for a year.
Yeah.
So I could get that feeling, you know, where, you know, sometimes you don't realize that you keep it quiet, your resistance built up where you can't get that high you used to get. You're not paranoid when you're driving anymore, and you know.
Right.
And that was kind of neat, except, you know, now there's a lot of really reasons to be paranoid when you're driving. And I'm working on getting my driver's license back now. Hey, listen, DC. You know why there's so many Joneses in the phone book?
Uh-uh.
They got phones. I can only tell short jokes.
Yeah, I heard you were quite the joke teller.
Well, no, not really.
No, I heard you were like pretty much of a professional comedian.
No, I almost get a complex because I can be funny, but I can't tell a joke. You know. But some want people to be able to walk out with a lighthearted feeling like that, the weight's off their shoulders, where they don't feel alone, where they feel like they're part of something.
Yeah.
And if you do it from the heartland all the way back, that's what freaked them out the most.
Yeah.
Is that we was talking about getting hot and nasty and getting high on marijuana and halls of karma, and that's before they had, thank God, before they had Christian rock.
Right.
But it was not. A lot of them thought it was satanic or something, but it wasn't. It was more like a cartoon, which I think humanity sort of is. We're in between boats, and like the little red devil on one shoulder saying, "Go ahead, do it. You know you want to do it."
Yeah. Right. Right.
You shouldn't do that. It's not right. But that's what that House Karma rap was about, and it came from an acid trip. Me and Dirty, our original bass player, who's still alive today, and he was the only one older than me. He was 6 months older than me. I'm 6 months older than Ricky.
Uh-huh.
But this whole thing, it got out of hand in a way, but we wrote it like it was a wave, and we just wanted to make sure that we enjoyed it as much as possible. But while we was out having fun, we should have been home checking the books some, because talent will bring you the money. For kids, let me tell you, be having some smarts will keep the money. Okay,
Yeah.
You got to have education. You got to know what they're doing with your money. And if they can't put it in a way you can understand it, well, then they ain't the right people. But they'll keep it moving. And I paid for my education. I didn't lose much sense of humor or my ability to trust, although I'm a lot more stingy about how I give it out. And that just happens,
Right.
The world ain't quite what it should be at all, but we can all still, if we all stand together, we're all underdogs. All them overdogs, there ain't many of them at all. We outnumber them all. We got the numbers.
Yeah.
They got the guns.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, take us back to 1963 and just tell us how Black Oak, Arkansas got its start.
Well, I was the first long hair in Arkansas, and it's before music, actually. And then, of course, Ricky came back from California, and me and him, even though we're in a way we're like exact opposites. He's a real homebody. He was a straight A student. I didn't want him to know what I knew or didn't know, either one. I didn't trust him at all, because they used to give him a test like IQ tests and aptitude tests, and knowing our score. And one time I saw our score. I didn't trust people like that. And the things I've learned, like Euclid's axiom and common notions, that's a 2,000-year-old book. I never learned that in school. I learned it in a movie watching Lincoln, okay?
Yeah.
A. Lewis. But, his first notion is when two things are equal to the same thing, they're equal to each other. And that's just pretty cool,
Uh-huh.
It's worked that long. It's a mathematical reasoning. But we pissed off everybody, and so we were getting fired. They all got together at what they call the cafetorium, which is a grade school where Piper went for a little while at Monette, and which they decided there's only certain jobs you can have during the season in the rural community where they have cotton and beans and all that.
Right.
Either you're working in the field, or you're working in a cotton gin, or you're working in a grocery store. And there wasn't but one factory in Jonesboro, which was a shoe factory back then. But they all decided that they weren't going to do it, so we cut our hair, right? And we didn't even know about it. I mean, this is before we saw the Beatles in the end of '63 with Little Caesar cutting on Ned Sullivan. And that's when they started calling me a communist. And I was having 5 fights a week behind the same barn every day. And in Black Oak, I wasn't going to go out of my way to go fight them, but they're all coming to fight me. And these were people that were my friends the year before I had long hair. Dad had a good crop. He said, I don't care how long it is, keep it clean, take that load to the gym, Because I didn't even know there's going to be any kind of a different kind of attitude until they said they didn't like what I stood for, even though they couldn't put it into words what it was. And they were going to break me, And I said, well, they saw me, okay? Now, they kind of drew first blood and created me, because I was once kind of a quiet, shy kind of kid. Okay, I never did want to wear, you know, some of the things that they was wearing, and I wasn't going to talk about it. I wouldn't be judgmental or nothing, but I always did dress a little bit different. But you know, Elvis made me feel a little bit better. My grandma. I'm in the house right now. I moved back to the family house. It was my grandma's house. It's almost before I got to my teens, and she was always on my side. She let me hide behind her recliner when Elvis was on the Ed Sullivan Show, and my mom didn't want me to watch it because of, I guess, Elvis to pelvis type of thing, you know. And he had foundations. I'll tell you what, that's what made me want to do what I do today, and that's why they should let me get away with it the first time, because she was having more cosmic fun than any human I'd ever seen. Before that, I wanted to be a stock car driver. But see, having those fights with all those guys, and, you know, and I got pretty good at it, actually, you know, because it gave me more chance to get good at it. And there wasn't that many really pretty girls. There was the Dollins girls. Yeah, they were pretty. But they tend to farm out those good-looking girls somewhere else if they can, so they won't get fall in love with some, you know, low-bred, crazy redneck like me. And, you know, I used to say that I gave my oath in blood after I saw Elvis to do was, if I got a chance to do it, I was going to do it, whatever it took, you know, what it called for or anything. That's before I had a dog, much less a girlfriend or a wife and kids. And they were all something I loved, and I tried to keep up with all of them. But, you know, 3 of my 4 wives are 3 of my oldest friends. And, you know, everybody's going to get lonely if you stay out there all the time. And a good friend, Tommy Bolin, finally told me one time at Shrine Theater that when he told me that I had a very loyal bunch of guys following me, you know. I said, yeah, but what do you mean by that? He says, you know, like, they're old. They need to go back in the woods. They need to go have some time to go hunting, fishing, and do some things. And you're not paying attention. And you won't never get tired of doing this. And I just realized maybe he was right. I wasn't being thoughtful enough. You know, and these were loyal guys. And we were great friends together. We may not have been the best band in the world as far as on our instruments, but nobody was more enthusiastic, and nobody had more fun, and nobody was more of a real band. We didn't know people who were, well, a lot of people we looked up to when we got there, we realized they were riding in different buses, didn't even like one another.
Yeah.
And that broke our hearts in a lot of ways, because everything we thought we was being, I mean, we was being something that hadn't been done yet in a way. And, you know, we did stick together through all kinds of stuff, and it's something we all we love and we treasure what we went through, and we're not going to let the sordid thing of greed or of, you know, when power seduces people that were once good people, you know, then they change sometimes.
Right.
But I wasn't smart enough to change. I think that I was having so much fun, I wasn't paying attention to things. And like Gertie said, I was the biggest fool of all. In fact, I was the only one that didn't. I made sure everybody left the band. I didn't want none to do it, but I made sure they all got at least $50,000 buyout, you know. I mean, I'm talking about everybody. And I was so tired of them wanting to leave, and then finally I figured out somebody was kind of dividing and conquering. You know, it was an old manager's dream. Let's get rid of everybody except the star. Let's divide it 50-50. And me and your sons are musicians. What kind of enthusiasm we can get from them? And, you know, the first ones, like Elvis, okay, they ran through this and cut the path with a machete that we all got to run down.
Right.
And there's so much nobody has learned yet. You got to realize, put it into its proper perspective. You know, that hadn't put words to what we're doing yet. They haven't been able to get definitions for what we're doing yet, because we hadn't done it yet. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know I knew what I was doing because I hadn't done it yet. I had to know what I was doing, okay? And now I'm a more deliberate man. I'm doing it on purpose now.
Right.
And I know I'm a grown man, but rock and roll's come of age. You know, I love the Stones, and I'd love to see anything if it lasts long enough to find a maturity. You know, my daughter, Piper, she looked at the picture once. She says, "Dad, you used to be a hunk." And I said, "Yes, so did Keith Richards."
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, we all grow old.
Yeah.
You know,
unfortunately, yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, what a drag it is getting old. But, you know, I'm sort of like Keith in a way of, I'm very heterosexual, and I'm not so much into the bohemian way of life. But, and I got to tell you, he drives me crazy Mick Jagger has got the damnedest willpower, and that's what it is. You know, God gave us a free will universe. We can will it so. If we want it bad enough, we can will it so. You can bend more than fourths with your will. Okay, and it's just he does yoga. He runs 5 miles in the morning every day. You know, and they're like, you know, 6 years older than I am. You know, Mick's 6 months older than Keith, and I'm 6 months older than Ricky. And me and Ricky have been together since the 9th grade. Okay.
Yeah.
And I got him kicked out of every public school in the state of Arkansas. That's something that, you know, it never happened before since in the history of the state. I'm kind of proud of it now. It's like a movie. They went and got the meanest judge in the state's trials when they finally caught us. Because we were stealing things. Okay, we never stole from anybody personally. Always just churches, schools, or co-ops, you know. And we got pretty good at it. And they thought we was professionals in Chicago. My dad one day found a Coke had been stolen out of a cotton gin. He's supposed to be being a watchman for. And I threw him out because we had a party over at Prairie Kingston's in Prairieville. And I forgot to take him out of the trunk. He had flat that Sunday. And so he told them that it's probably been us getting that stuff out of the gym. But they know that was going to link to all kinds of stuff. And I ended up in 8 years suspended sentence. But the way I got that was when they picked that meanest judge. His name was Judge Mosby in Arkansas. He was the meanest judge. But my dad's biological daddy was a moonshiner that had a partner. It was a German farmer over by Riverdale between Lepanto and Caraway. And that's only about 18 miles from, no, not that far, 13 miles from Black Oak today, where two rivers cross. And the farmer was, you know, Todd Marner, he's dead now, but he was alive then when we went to court. And my daddy's daddy, I mean, his name was John Henry Jones. He can't keep up with the Joneses, right?
Another freaking Jones.
Outside of it, Jim Jones. But the thing is, the only judge they'd ever put into office. It's like that old that old Burt Reynolds movie, you know, where his brother got killed down there, his little brother, and went down there. That guy walking around with him overalls on, no shirt, was my daddy's daddy.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
Judge and put the people in office and everything. And money.
Yeah.
But their hate for me, wanting to get the meanest judge, was picking the perfect judge, where I got the maximum years of suspended sentence, 8 years was. Ricky and his brother Danny got 6. Danny, well, God bless him, he's gone now too. But he was our getaway man. He couldn't drive the leg. He couldn't drive nothing. I had to try to get over that front seat in time to get a hold of that steering wheel because we were just going all over the road, man. He put his foot up and wasn't even looking over the dash hardly because he's younger than us. But those were exciting days, our cat burgering days.
So is this when you guys stole the PA?
Yeah.
Out of the school?
It didn't even work. My parents, who didn't have hardly any savings at all, I went through them with the lawyer that was no good, told me at the end of it, the only way he's going to keep me out of prison was for me to do 3 consecutive 2-year terms at point in Vietnam.
Oh, gosh.
And I said, look, Dad, I know 2 years ago I wanted to be like Audie Murphy with Till Dukes got on my side, but now I don't want to send me to prison. That's what they call it. It's what it is. They're trying to get rid of me. And they were getting rid of a lot of people like me back then.
Yeah.
And they, ticker tape parade, the best soldiers we ever had in our lives out there. They did Vietnam and stuff like that. And there was no difference. But a lot of this stuff that gets on, the hate stuff that gets on media didn't even know how it was. It hadn't even learned what its effect was going to be yet. Cronkite and everybody else, they were just learning this and going through all this. Having presidents assassinated when you had, they just barely had photos. To see the Civil War pretty easy when Lincoln got assassinated. But, it's like those times were. I remember seeing Al Cooper, who was on the video of Bob Dylan's, where he said he left the organization right before they went to go to Dallas because he was scared to go to Dallas. If they didn't like Kennedy, because they already killed Kennedy, if they didn't like Kennedy, what were they going to get like with Bob Dylan? He's pissing off everybody.
Yeah. Just
because he had a band, and hell, everybody gets in this business going to have a band someday. I mean, he just couldn't afford one at first, hell, pretty easy to see. But, them folk guys are kind of pure music. He was Judas. He was Judas. The first song I heard from my dad, he finally told me, he says, son, if you're going to stay in my house, you're going to have to cut that hair. It's causing trouble in my bedroom. I said, oh, God, what you say it for? And I was in the bathtub when he told me. I'm going, all right, I'll leave and stuff. And I went out, got my suitcase, stuffed what I could in it, took my record player, which was the first thing I hopped. The first song I heard when I was hitchhiking leaving was Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. And, man, there's certain things that it touch you. My friend Billy Bob, he tells me that the first album we did, we were standing on the truck and had the map of Arkansas on it with a little circle around Black Oak. And he told me that album was like, some people say, like Blonde on Blonde or Abbey Road or Sticky Fingers were for people, which that's a lot of albums were for us, were big albums for us,
Yeah.
And changed our lives. And
now you talking about Billy Bob Thornton?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's from Arkansas.
Yeah, Malvin. We've known each other for a long time.
Really?
Before he made it, and we had actually he knew us when we made it, but I didn't meet him till after we kind of. It's those hidden years, those dark years where they say, "Well, you've been to me. I've been here the whole time." But unless you're out of 500 or 1,000, hardly anybody's gonna know where I'm at a time. It's kind of I'm trying to stay in motion.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you're an opinionated person, you need to stay in motion. And on stage as well, that's where you need to give a good show and stay. I was shot at like 4 or 5 times on stage, and it's usually a big misunderstanding because it wasn't my idea to put them damn stars and bars underneath. I'm not proud of the Civil War.
Yeah.
Okay? And I tell you why. There's more of us killed in the Civil War than all the other wars put together.
Yeah.
We was killing brother and brother, and we was as a Baptist. What we fighting over is free help. Them having to know themselves and work on their own dirt, do their own killing. I mean, we was feeding and clothing the South, feeding and clothing the whole nation. And the Industrial Revolution is coming in, so is the combustible engine. And things, it's just more going on and going on. We had 16 petticoats behind, I say we, but I wasn't even alive then, right?
Yeah.
But you were having a war over something that, like Lincoln, he died for it. They got so pissed off, but he could have stayed and been a big star. Because man, he was the most popular president. After when they finally won the Civil War, but he knew he had to do that thing on slavery because we were on the world stage. That was the first thing for us to have any judgment, everything, because they had to keep up the pace. Other people in Europe had to quit having slavery. It's like eventually it was going to catch on. Otherwise, this new nation was going to be ahead of us all. Because you have to do something like that. It ain't right. It just ain't right to enslave other people to do your stuff,
Right,
get rich.
right.
Plantation owners. Hell, Andrew Jackson, he's the one that did the Trail of Tears, and also he was the one that got the richest before he was ever president, man. He was sort of like a rock star getting to be president. He wasn't a politician, so there were certain things about that helped out in ways. But, this is the best nation in the world. When you think about that,
it is.
Really think about that.
It is. It's the greatest place on earth.
Yeah, and it scares you to death when it ain't quite what it should be either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Government ain't supposed to run your life. Coexist with one another and make things be better for one another. It's a tool, But hey, they wanted me to be a politician once. I told them, they said, they listen to you. And I said, but Representative Alexander. I said, yeah, they listen to me as long as I'm telling them what they want to hear. When I start force feeding them stuff they don't want to hear, they ain't going to listen to me at all. And, that's what worst thing about politics is politicians.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great friend of mine, in my age. And he used to come up to lodge and smoke pot with us and stuff.
Clinton?
Yeah, he didn't when he was president, but
he didn't inhale though.
No, and I didn't either.
And you didn't either, yeah.
No.
You still don't.
No. After I said that, when I said I didn't inhale either.
Yeah.
He's a perfect politician. I don't know why you won't go for it, because man, you say all the right things as long as we stay together on it.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
Fine. I don't think the president is the most powerful man there is. I think he's a puppet for the most powerful man. The old money, not the new money like Trump's or your Kennedy's, 2 generations.
Yeah.
And it's really got more money than Carter does liver pills, and you think they ain't going to own They ain't going to worry who wins the election. They're going to own both sides. Let us both feel involved like worker bees, keep them appeased. That's what got me interrogated a bunch from 1978, I think it was. It's hard for me to look back anymore. I'm just a shell of a human being left after drug culture. Yeah, I know nothing. But they did tell me if I was going to stay in this business, I better just stay a song and dance man and quit talking about things. And I said, well, I thought freedom of speech, I thought that's part of the American way, you know, and that's all. Dandyism is, you know, individualism and freedom of speech. You better always have that, or, you know, it's not a dandy world.
Did you hang out with Bill back when he was governor?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, he'd come up there, and he'd show up at shows sometimes. So we even let him play saxophone a couple of times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He knew he wasn't that good, but it was for the sake of doing it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, he's the governor, right? So.
Yeah, he had enough nerve to go out there and do it.
Yeah.
But he'd come to me when he actually lost the election once to White, and he'd come back up there at the lodge when no, find that the elderly people didn't believe. He had a great program for them. He says, I don't understand why they're not believing me. I said, well, Bill, you ever see Flaming Star with Elvis?
Yeah.
Right at the end of a Flaming Star, he rides out on that horse. He says, I've seen that Flaming Star of Death. He's got that lip curled up, okay? But Elvis can get away with it, but you can't. I said, you need to think about these character actors, too. Think about your first dog that got run over or something, or puppy or something that broke your heart. Think about that so your face don't look like you're excited about it. I know you do have a good program. You did help our schools and stuff, but you did find out a lot, too, that, you know, stuff you didn't want to believe that I was saying. I don't know why I was saying it, except that some things come through you, not from you. How could I know how to handle a crowd of hundreds of thousands of people when I come to my town, or less than 300? And all I can say is, you ever heard of divine intervention?
Yeah, yeah.
I can say that's about all I can tell you.
Right.
And
hey, Jim, I saw this video you guys were in. It was the 1974 California Jam. Okay, and here you are dancing around on stage, no shirt, those white tight pants with your washboard, drinking from a jug. All the while you're singing Dixie, and above the stage is this huge freaking rainbow sign. And it's like in the city of Ontario in San Bernardino County, California, which is only 35 miles east of downtown L.A.
We dropped Black Oak sun visors.
Yeah.
They were just crumbles. I still see them today because they were out there without shade tree all day, okay?
Yeah.
Deep Purple and Emerson Purple fighting over who's going to close. You're all, everybody there's headliners. I mean, you know, and funny thing was, whenever Richie Blackmore run his guitar into that camera, that's a television station camera they were doing all that with. They were getting paid $65,000 like we were. And that camera cost $100,000. And nobody, he didn't talk about that with anybody. That wasn't planned, that wasn't for show, that was real. And they had paid back that. And that's when my good friend Tommy Bolin became a guitar player for Deep Purple. And
oh, wow.
I knew Tommy before I did Johnny. Johnny's my drummer, Johnny Bolin. And we love Dallas. We call it the Big D. And we've been known to be in several strip bars there. Of course, I've kind of retired from that. And I'm retired from the rescue business, too. I'm just, you know, nobody ever wants to rescue me.
Well, Jim, what was funny to me about that California Jam show was that you guys were singing Dixie on the West Coast, and that is huge audience. They were like singing along with you.
I wish I was in the land of cotton. Old times there are not forgotten.
Yeah, well, Ricky dreamed that arrangement, a rock and roll arrangement of Dixie.
Yeah.
And me, I liked singing the song, although, you know, I found out later that Yankee wrote it. And it was a song that was loved by, you know, you didn't have really media or journalism and stuff like that. You could find out about who wrote the songs.
Yeah.
But it's the most popular type of song they had going on. And you know, what we did there, we didn't know that. We were so gullible, Dave. We was having fun. We didn't realize that was just damn corny, embarrassing, corny. go out there and do like a barbershop quartet thing or Dixie, and but actually, I hear it nowadays. It was pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was good. It was good.
Ricky arranged, of course, he arranged a lot of the when we worked the voices in, did it besides when we just stoned, or sound on sound with the reel to reel out in the big room, the living room. Everybody's getting high on pot and laughing their ass off. And those were the days when we first went to California.
Well, you guys were so cutting edge. I mean, you were before your time. I mean, it was amazing what you guys were able to do, and you experienced some amazing successes early on as a result. I mean, you had a lot of huge bands now that were opening for you back then, and I think about the fact that ZZ Top had their Bill Ham and Zeppelin had their Peter Grant, and people behind the scenes that were advising them and the creative minds. But I can't help but think that the creative mind was you guys.
Well, hey man, it's a common story. It happens to everybody, but the thing is. You learn about things, and you think that people are going to take care of you. They take care of you all right, because the almighty buck,
But how did you come up with this concept?
All Southern bands think you got to have at least 2 lead guitar players. Allman Brothers came out before we did, and I give them the due, and I loved the Allman Brothers. I hated to lose Greg, same age as me, almost right there. And they had 2 lead players, but actually, Dwayne he's the older brother of the Allmans.
Right.
Reason we had 2 lead guitar players because we got out to California, we had to send for Stanley night because Harvey Chet had met this woman that he was going to marry her, and he was going to spend time with her and all that stuff. We appreciate that. So we went off, but after we got Stanley there, 2 weeks after Stanley had been there, Harvey comes back and says, "Man, please, y'all let me back in the band. I don't know anybody out here." And I turned around, she's coming at me with a butcher knife. That's why we had 2 lead guitar players, because he wanted back in the band. And sure, come on, Harvey. We know we'd hate to be in your situation too. But it's when Tom died, it's funny how him and Steve Cropper, which we first Stax. Steve Cropper says you don't need but 1 guitar in the band, Jim. You've got 3 guitars, and one of them's got 12 strings. What in the world are you thinking? I said, I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to go talk to guitar players. But we didn't know it was a bad thing. It's just that, and we had to learn how to get our rhythm track. Our rhythm track was so busy in the old days, and it was a great rhythm track. I mean, Dirty was probably the best bass player that I'd ever seen on a big stage, and he played so black at the same time. I mean, but he got a lot of his education from Duck Gunn, and when we was young, we was at Stax. People don't know that, but they did have that early times thing come out, and made us look like the 7 Boys. But which that's okay. We were, but the thing is, Atlantic is nothing like it was when he first got us. And Alman Erdogan signed us. He only signed like 5 things himself personally. We were like the 5th thing. Tom Dowd, he did most all of our albums, and it was really they realized that we were like a brotherhood. They came and they talked to me about having other people come in, and we didn't have to have them on the album. They get so much money that they don't have to have their name on it or nothing. But they put pat me on the back saying I was a star and all this stuff. That star stuff. Personality personification. I was trying to learn how to personify, have as much fun as Elvis was having when I was watching him on Ed Sullivan. And it's really, hard to keep having that kind of fun whenever at the same time you're being ripped off right and left by everything that's going on in the business.
Yeah.
They didn't have merchandising back then. They didn't have a lot of that. But now everything's kind of grown up to an adult form, and it's gotten really incorporated. You have your, what is it, we have one program director for doing your Clear Channel radio type of stuff. He's in New York, and it's all the same songs over and over. And Steve Miller's even tired of his own songs. I mean, it's like we've become caricature of ourselves in ways of they need to give real pillars of this business that were real, like Elvis Presley, not Fabian was Hound Dog Man, but Elvis Presley was selling You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog to teenage white girls whenever Big Mama Thornton sold. She's singing about a little skinny black man, okay? You ain't never a hound dog, you never caught a rabbit, you ain't no fish. But that's okay, but man, that's pretty good salesmanship right there. But he had the moves, and it was rippling through the whole thing. And it is personality that sets Elvis and Muhammad Ali apart from other people that had that same position in life. And John Lennon was one of the first high-profile personalities. When he met me, see, Elvis told me to do the song Jim Dandy's Rescue, okay?
Now, did Elvis call you?
Yes, on the phone. I was at Wally Heider's studio. And
what'd he say?
Told me to do the song Jim Dandy's Rescue and told me to turn it first person. And he told me I was meant to do this song. And I was thinking, please don't get heavy. I mean, I'll do the song, whatever it sounds like. I'm thinking in my mind, And but he was a big fan of people that are from around Memphis area, okay?
Uh-huh.
And he's also a big Jim Dandy fan, Laverne Baker, Jim Dandy fan, okay? And he already got Dan Barker to record a song, too. And you remember on Little Sister, I went to get him candy, along came Jim Dandy, and then walked right out the door, I was in Little Sister. But he told me to turn it first person, and I was meant to do this song, and he's tired of waiting on me to discover it myself. And I said, yes, sir. Say no to the king of rock and roll. I thought, how corny. What did I say that for? He said, well, rock and roll is created by a disc jockey for his own pocketbook, I figured. But if that's what the kids want to call it, that's okay with me. I play rhythm and blues, country, and I ain't for one king, and I ain't him. And I couldn't wait to tell my mama that. But things like that is happening in our lives. It's obvious divine intervention going on, shaping us to what we are.
Right.
The one that laughed me out of fourth grade when I said I wanted to have Elvis's job, they all say, who the hell you think you are? And ain't who I are, so I'm going to be. It's America, damn it, But I cried, when I see my mama was teaching third grade down the hall in Bay. And it's like that is part of what gave me the want to. My daddy only went to third grade. But he told me, he says, Super Bowl is two teams that are both qualified. And when it gets down to the Super Bowl, it's who wants it the baddest,
Yeah.
And he also used to tell me things when I'd be in the pickup with him, like, Kane never could do nothing, Jim Dandy. He say, he's the one to start calling me Jim Dandy when he was only 9 years old. And I thought he was saying I was sitting when I looked at his flower bag to see Jim Dandy flower and got with ruffles and stuff on it, That's really before I started having the fights, before my hair was that long. And if it is like, it's all meant to be. It's like some kind of old black and white movie with Jimmy Stewart or something, like It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
It is wonderful. It is wonderful. I'm glad I had it. Better have it than not have it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But if it's easy, everybody'd be doing it, wouldn't it?
Right. If it was easy, they would. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, has David Lee Roth ever thanked you?
Well, he kind of begrudgingly thanked me for not saying that he stole anything from me. And I told him, I said, he couldn't steal nothing from me. I got it for nothing. He got it for nothing. I wouldn't advise it to most people, not unless they have true blue want to. They shouldn't. I had a song I wrote not too long ago called I Wouldn't Want to Be Like Me If I Was You. And, not without true blue want to. You got to really want to. For me, okay, it's okay. I loved it. It's a pretty high profile, pretty, kind of a whole new jet engine to it. But at the same time, a lot of people, they had identity crisis. They thought they want to be like somebody they idolized.
Yeah.
They never did it. They had an identity crisis, personality conflict. Felt like they had no personal life. Some of them even committed suicide, much less the ones that obviously became drug addicts or alcoholics. But what's kept me going wrong for a long time is kept me on the right path. Is the main thing is keep the main thing, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And whatever main thing people got in their life, as long as they keep the center of what is the main thing, it means, to me, right up there with the big ones is family, love, and true friendship. Things like that you can't, things I wouldn't expect to come out of Mr. Hot and Nasty, like believe in love, not lust.
Yeah.
Who to trust. believing the truth, not the lie. You
Right.
know, they natural at 3 years old. They think they just believe in the fast money and the line. You know, little kids. With some families, forever it's like the prodigal son in scriptures. You know, but when he finally comes back, it seems like the father was happier about that than the son had been good the whole time. But it wasn't so. It's just glad to get him back in the fold. You know.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to appreciate, no matter what they throw at us. No matter what they throw at us. You know, if all the underdogs was to stick together, we're such a big mass of people that we're a movement that, you know, there's a lot of us, you know.
You know, Jim, I know David Lee Roth got it from you. No doubt in my mind, but where did you get it?
Well, you know, he knew, they knew we had a PR company back then, and they came to see us and took home videos. We used to whiskey, okay? We still go by and play the whiskey every now and then because those days.
I love the whiskey.
Mario's still alive. He likes me. And but anyway, I'll probably get bad just like Jim Morrison and everything. Who cares? Once nobody cares, why should I? But so far, I can't stand taking my luggage on stage with me and doing a show. So I can be working on my girlish figure. But
girlish figure. Oh yeah, you still got that going.
When I was 17, I had to be careful walking down Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Because my ass was getting grabbed by guys, and I turned around and my voice was scaring them to death, you know. It's like, you know, I wasn't trying to do that.
Oh, man.
Henry Jones sounds like it could have been a black man's name. I asked my daddy, you know, I do love their music, and I'm a firm believer, you know, I believe in Euclid's first notion, you know, common notion was, you know, things that are equal to the same thing or equal to each other. And, you know, no matter what color, born the same way every day. My mom would say, you decide, would a rainbow be a rainbow if all the colors weren't side by side?
Yeah.
You know, the rainbow of humanity is not happening yet, and actually, humane is not anything except a similar sounding word with humans right now. And we need to learn how to be humane.
Yeah.
Again, all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, we don't have to think we're so smart. We don't have to think we're so dumb. We just have to think that we're not alone. A lot of us are put in the same position. There's a lot of overdogs more than there is underdogs. There's few of them, but they're the ones running the show. All them old mustache peeps that don't like change to happen. Change is the law of the universe. It's a good thing. It's a good thing, not just a bad thing. Hell, very little of it's bad. Change is good.
Yeah.
Hell.
You know, Jim, you've lost a number of bandmates over the years, including Ruby.
And we got on the new album, we did Ruby's Heartbreaker. Now, actually, Ricky was so, he was so, when she finally went, you know, she had a brain tumor, and
right.
It gave her 6 months. It was almost to the day, and I talked to her probably, you know, once or twice every week or so. You know? And it's a painful thing, and it's a horrible thing to go through, but she was a champ all the way to the end, you know, telling me, you know, get the crowd to make crowd participation thing. You know, I was telling her I didn't think I could do Jim Dandy anymore. It's her voice, I mean, her tearing through there, go Jim Dandy. I mean, actually, my voice was gone, okay? When I was on top of the world, I got a chance to be on top of the world, I smoked my throwaway on hashish, trying to keep up with the guitar players. I had a broncho condition with 2 packs a day smoker. And voice specialists were telling me that I'd probably never be able to cure what was wrong with my voice. And I finally got some time off, and I got my voice back, okay?
Wow.
And I'm not in the world, but I'm a lot better than I was back then. But we were still one of the top 5 money makers between 72 and 77. We had to work about 4 times as much.
Yeah.
But before, you know, but thing, and we was unworthy to be in that company then, as much as being the 5th one that Tom Omniker signed. And all the things that have happened to us are almost like divine intervention. I mean, you can't make up this kind of stuff, like you said a while ago. You can't make this up.
Mm-mm.
And because I didn't have the same pictures all the time, I was in a lot of magazines. My posters weren't all the same. They thought some of the other bands thought I had, you know, some kind of percentage of the ownership of some of the magazines, Circus and Cream and stuff like that. And also, I talked about stuff that, I mean, probably I shouldn't have been talking about. But, in some ways, I was trying to keep it. I thought that John Lennon and Bob Dylan had figured out a way to write songs in code, and we wouldn't know what they's about. Honor Walrus or Subterranean Homesick Blues or anything like that. Before we walk out thinking what they wanted us to think. But the thing was, I was inspired by John Lennon, had the nerve to be a high-profile personality, knowing that he wasn't going to live long doing this.
Yeah.
You realize real quick that it was just being cool and having these little things to say. That was John Lennon always. But it kind of got him to where he's in an area that nobody else has ever gone in. And nobody really has had the nerve to follow him.
Yeah.
And when I was saying those things, most of those things afterwards was when they'd already figured out how to infiltrate us and undermine us with things that was going to be the demise of a beautiful, turn a dream into a nightmare as far as with us. I never got a buyout, but I stayed until the bills were paid. My daddy told me, you think you know better what business it is. If you leave people holding your bills, you ain't going to get back in that business. Now, I wanted to get back in that business. He was telling everybody I was a egomaniac that I couldn't be worked with. Well, I didn't want to work with him no more, and I'm not going to mention his name ever again. All right? I'm over it. I mean, I was, this is a legendary story, okay?
Okay.
I don't know whether it's true or not. But in this legendary story, there was these people hired to kill me and Pat Garden by a certain person. It felt like we were too strong of individuals. As males, we were men. We were standing up and, we wasn't going to be dissuaded like that. And even by taking our money away, we still saw we wouldn't let the bad thing turn what was good into a bad thing. And, but he hired people that Jim Dandy knew. At one point in my life, I knew everybody by their first name, from Winos and Gate Street to the President of the United States. And I liked that fact that I got to have a certain kind of everything rubbed off on me. I was a conduit, and I was like Siddhartha going through the travels of, you get little bits and pieces of things that you don't have to be. In fact, it'd be hard not to be the kind of person that you've got to learn something, no matter how dumb you are. And it's if you open your eyes and see it.
Right.
And the good of this is, well, I'm a very, very devout Christian, but I'm not the kind that is doing it because I want a clean job. And I do believe, I have a very strong beliefs. I believe that we should all think about our spirit world life and where we're going. And if there is an afterlife, which I believe there is, obviously, it's the way I've lived my life. I've never expected to be here by the time I didn't expect to be here at 72. I was living dangerously. I don't know what happened. Something went wrong. I was supposed to die young and have a beautiful corpse. Already missed that. But he's interesting looking, whatever it is. But, they can't stop us if we don't want them to, because it's a free will universe. If we don't want them to, they can't. They can't stop us. Can't never could do nothing. Can't always will. Are you a camp man or a cane man? I'm a can man, Dad. I'm a can man. That's what started me in life, thinking I could.
Yeah.
Well, who the hell do you think you are? Think you can? Well, Jim Dandy, I guess.
Jim
Funny
Dandy.
Name. It took me a lifetime to get a whole new definition for that name.
Right. What are you guys working on now, Jim?
We just had, I call it a new album because when it came out right before 2020 started happening, which we all know that's one of those years that we're going to have a lot of blues songs written about. But, it's kind of year to where, when you think about Christmas coming, you think well, what song would you write, Jim Dandy? The Insanity Claus is coming to town. He knows when you ain't working. He knows when you're broke. But if you don't find $2,000 at least spent on your kids, you ain't worth a shit, and that ain't no joke. And you better watch out. You better not cry and all that shit. Santa Claus is like the devil. He's dressed in red, stole all the attention from Jesus. And it's all about material things. Christmas, it's hard to get any spiritual value about, what it used to be. And, shoot. If we know such thing as money, we'd all be rich.
Yeah.
But do kind of, I'm let down that when I was supposedly rich. Now, I got tired of hearing that I lost 4.4 million dollars. I'm sick of hearing that. What I want to know is why can't, they think I let it slip through my fingers. Why couldn't they just go grab it one time, And, even if somebody comes and steals it from me again, they're not going to keep me from doing what I'm doing. And this new album is called Underdogs, Underdog Heroes. And actually talking about the underdog people that need the underdog heroes is what we were singing about. But we sang Ruby's Heartbreaker for Ruby, just remembering her, because I do believe it's a sin to forget the unforgettable. There's so many great, great people. We even have one song, The Channel of Spirits, which that was kind of a challenge. Had a friend who was a great guitar player in Memphis City. I don't know if he wants to see me and my friends, so I'm going to say his name. But he told me somebody ought to write a song called Channel of Spirits. And I said, well, I ain't never turned down a dare. I'll try it, but it was a hard-ass song to write. I mean, just an artist song alone, and there's some people that I wanted to mention, but the song was going to be too long. And, but, those that were, the ones that were ahead of their time, and they had the foresight and to see more than just the basic reasons most people really do it, for pussy or money or power or popularity or whatever, but there's more reasons than that. Rock and roll is a statement of freedom. You can do anything you want to do. Just don't step on my blue suede shoes, Don't get mad at me because I don't want to wear one of them blue corduroy coats that says Future Farmers in America. I'm glad somebody's got a green thumb, but it ain't me, baby. I mean, I'm more of I got to make the rounds, In Memphis even, Black Oak is an hour away from Memphis. And when I was in Memphis, I had to leave Memphis because I still like to record there. And I still got friends there, and Ricky still lives there. But it's turning into, and I can't say nothing for their marksmanship either. Okay? Maybe they should turn the guns up where they can see the sights. But there's a thing going on where, you've got your gangs going around shooting at people and hitting innocent kids, and they can't seem to hit what they're shooting at. They need to start going to some gun clubs or going to some,
target practice.
A lot of target practice.
Yeah.
And, but Memphis is a crossroads for a lot of different kinds of music. And it has a lot of what rock and roll when it started, God knows they wouldn't have let Elvis on Bando Opry if they didn't know when he was going to play. They told me I'd never get on it when they heard me, and which makes me feel kind of special, sort of like we're the only ones kicked out of every public school in the state of Arkansas in the history of the state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Tell me about Underdog Heroes.
Heroes?
Tell me about that song.
Well, it was, it was singing about, when the first word starts out, he's a radical, he's a capable, non-conforming radical, He says, he's a agitating, instigating underdog hero to people, He's incorrigible. I learned that off watching Babe Ruth with, Big Boy doing Babe Ruth, but they said he was incorrigible when he was a kid. Well, that's what they said about me when I was a kid. I was incorrigible. I got kicked out of some schools and stuff. And I did some things, not really bad things, just mischievous things that get you kicked out of a school. And made it hard on my parents. When I finally got there to Monette, I was trying real hard not to have none of that happen anymore. My parents was going to be a good guy. But then here it comes my sheet, okay? They got the report back. It took like 3 weeks to get back from the last school I was in, which was Bay before that, and a few miles away. And then they decided they was going to break me. Like a horse, they was going to break me. And I knew right then it was on again. Here it comes again. They're going to either break your spirit and break your will in school or in prison or in the army, or they're going to bury you, And I'm the one that got away so far. And we all are pretty much the same, except I'm the one with the big mouth that kind of telegraphs a punch too often. And, I learned pretty quick that everything that goes through your head ain't supposed to come out your mouth on a microphone, okay?
Yeah.
But there was a time in my life I was really kind of, it was improvisational, and I love people like Lenny Bruce, Robin Williams, people like Eddie Murphy. And shit, man, we had stuff going on, comedy where you had to laugh at yourself, and it got hard for people to be able to laugh at themselves, and that's where things started getting dishonest. And nothing's ever underhanded until it's done underhanded. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's the way it's done, and the way a man carries himself. I had a song I wrote the other day. I think it's the best words I ever wrote. I'll go and mention them, but it goes, I've always heard you're as good as your word, and that can get you by. But believing love, not lust. Now, who would you expect Jim Dandy to say that? Know who to trust. Now, they'd expect me to say that. And believe in truth, not the lie. Not the scam. And the truth can be like a rock back between the eyes. The truth can be a great thing to have, but it's also something that they don't want out. The old power is the old money, not the young money, not the new money. It's the old money. They don't want anybody coming in shaking, the methods of what's going on. You ever seen Wag the Dog?
Yeah.
Okay. Got TV now. It's hard to know what's real, what ain't real. Like
Yeah.
wars or countries are even real.
Right.
And especially after the confusion of Russia when it broke down and putting that together. And all I can do is think back from Hawaii doing, John Wick. He's supposed to be Russian. Can't watch him back to back hardly. Those three. It's like
Right.
trying to chat.
Right.
McCoy's all front to back. Hatfield McCoy's. Costner did. It was great.
That was a great show.
But so much hate, you can't watch it back to back.
Yeah. Right.
It's too much.
It's too much. Yeah.
More
Yeah.
love, and everybody had more fellowship and brotherhood and know your neighbor. And now nobody wants to know their neighbor because then they're an accomplice or, because if they know what's going on, most of the time it's got some black market qualities of its own, like we used to sell pot. Yeah, that's crazy.
Jim, you've had an amazing career. So many people out there that have been influenced by you and have loved you guys over the years. Do you have any regrets?
Any regrets? Well, I have some things I wouldn't do again that way after I've learned one. But you can't be young and wise at the same time. It's like you can't be in love and wise at the same time. It's very hard anyway. It's difficult. And the enduring questions and the impossible answers, where people have to have answers. Like all the great musicians that the world never sees because they're scared to death from the legal contracts they're putting in front of them. And some of the best that we never get to see, or because they were scared away because they didn't understand, the contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll probably find a way to get it again this time. But, maybe I can make it where everything they steal from me mostly is monetary. That kind of thing. Possessions, I guess, do that too. But everything goes to me, not from me anyhow, and I don't try to keep anything.
Right.
I'm provided for. I don't know how, and I don't know why, but it's always seemed to work out that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I do things that are you're not supposed to do, and they told me I'm crazy, and I shouldn't have done the rap in front of Lord Have Mercy on My Soul. They said it's going to ruin our career. And I said, I think we haven't got a career yet, I told them. This is our first real album. I said, and this right here, it will set us apart from others if it works at all. If I didn't want it to be my voice, okay, it's saying what I was saying, because it took me a year to write it down on paper, the reading in front of the song. And it came from an LSD trip, and very intense one. And and I tried to put it in its own variation, cartoon forms, but it's like going to a place clear out and dark, and your body's freaking out to somewhere. It's not even in any kind of language. It's so primitive, It's like all of a sudden it's a Cro-Magnon type of human being running around while I'm in astral projection.
Yeah.
I never. We took me and Dirty took 3,000 acid trips trying to find a good one. Never found one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, friends of mine in Legendary were hired to kill me and Pat. They asked me, "Do you want me to kill him?" And I said, "No, I want him to stay alive." They said, "Well, we ain't giving him his money back."
Hey, tell me.
If you can believe it, I'm still here.
Okay. Hey, you're off our screen, but I'm just going to continue. I'm going to ask you one more thing. So, what is your fondest memory?
Fondest memory? You mean like band fondness, or?
Yeah, I mean life or just your career. What what comes to mind?
Huh? Oh, the camera's on. You still see me, can't you see?
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, you're back. You just went off for a minute.
But you know, that we did it at all, and that we stayed together through all of that until it got to the end where, you know, it was my fault. I'm always to blame. Always to blame. It's funny, that first song on the new album, that's you know, the song that we always liked on our Robot album, Alan Parsons, you know, in the old days.
Uh-huh.
But it was almost all keyboards, and we turned it into a guitar riff, and in it, first one says, and if they say you don't know me, and says, and if, but the whole thing was like, I'm always to blame. If they say I was to blame, I'm always to blame. I was doing a camp on Hot and Nasty. Only Ricky would probably pick up on it, but quite a few people picked up on it. And then Alan Parsons, he picked up on it too and really liked it because, you know, also Ruby's Heartbreakers, Mark Farner wrote that song about a girl that broke his heart in high school. He didn't even like her anymore. And I told him, I said, I want to use your music to Heartbreaker. I got his permission, you know, he knew Ruby too. And this was way years ago, you know, when Ruby died. It was 1994 when Ruby passed away.
Mark Farmer with Grand Funk?
Yeah, Mark Farner with Grand Funk.
Yeah.
And he was, you know, we've been playing that song, and it's been evolving since 1994.
Uh-huh.
His music, and I changed the words a little bit to what I was singing them to Ruby, you know. I miss her today. And fondness of the things that, you know, I've lost so many that were younger than me. And, I don't know what to say except that all a man can do is all a man can do, and it's all a man can do. And every time I try to find new ways to do things, new angles to do things, because it's gotten to where it's almost predictable with me and the powers that be, the authoritative structure that's out there. And they don't trust any young change that's not controlled by somebody else that they understand. And I'm just surprised that I'm still here, to tell you the truth. But they used the wrong caliber of guns, and they always had to, you know, they need to be better shots. I'm still a moving target. I just think quite as fast as a moving target.
So what do you want people to remember about you?
Oh, hey, man, I never changed, really. I was always the same. I mean, the same stupid guy. Just try to keep everybody in a good mood, and I try to do what I can to make it where everybody has food to eat and something to get high on, or, you know, and I'm not talking about the hard stuff. I'm talking about what now we find appreciation for marijuana. Now we give kids scholarships to go to college to learn more about marijuana and all its uses, and it's got a lot of uses. It's a funny thing that they don't know is fucking, you know, Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin both had advised, after we got our independence, that hemp be one of the crops that they suggest be grown. And until about 10 years ago, we were told what to grow, and they've thrown most of it in the damn ocean, just keeping us busy, you know, and telling us what to grow. Because, I mean, hell, a man with a family of 10 could probably support him with a truck farm of about, probably 80 acres, like less than that, and sell a bunch of it to the farmers markets and stuff like that if you wanted to grow food.
Yeah.
But, you know, just take everybody growing their own food when it starts happening like that. But they don't they don't really show people that they favor that much, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for whatever reasons, there's so many sordid reasons, and you know they can always find a reason to justify what they do, and if they can all remember that, hey, we just wanted them to have a good time, and we're a real rock band, and even though it's only me and Ricky left really, but Dirty just wanted to retire off the road, and I always thought he was probably the best musician in the band, but he was a certified, paranoid schizophrenic, and a lot of people got the wrong impression with Dirty. They're kind of scared of him because, you know, he was kind of a fatalist. If something bad's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. It's going to happen tonight. You know, that kind of thing. He'd give me the shirt off his back and take a bullet and saw somebody trying to shoot me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd do the same for him. I'd rather die than have to see him go when I see him coming. And I hope that me and Ricky go together because I don't want either one of us to be without the other one.
Yeah.
We're both. He's a gourmet chef. He went to culinary school for 2.5 years, little by little.
Wow.
And I got really big there for a while and had to quit living with Ricky. Me and him had part ways because it was like taking my luggage on stage from him. You know, it was Dumpy Dandy, and it was your voice is somehow even better. Like when Elvis was big, you don't see many skinny opera singers, but you know, diaphragm and all that stuff.
Right.
My sister was a singer of my family. She was a miracle baby. You know, had no cleft palate. She had no goosel.
Yeah.
She couldn't hardly talk and all that. And I was about 2 when she came in the world. She ended up being a scholar, voice scholar, and a singer and all that stuff. Shit, I'm just, you know, I can't carry a tune in the bucket. My dad used to say to people come visit. You know, whether I could or not, but I was willing
You did
to try.
it.
And when I saw Elvis having that fun, I figured, man, that's a lot of fun.
You know, we could go on for another hour, and I hate to cut it short, but this show is not going to fit in our 2-hour slot. But I would love to have you back on for a part 2.
Well, whatever you know, if we find it.
I would love to. If you've got the time, I would love to set it up and do it again. I'll get a hold of Piper and see, but I'd love.
My daughter, she's got her own little show that she's doing. And
Yeah.
we've done things in the car, which the first one she did was candid. She didn't let me know she was filming it.
Yeah.
Boy, I was terrible too. Boy, cried.
Yeah.
It was it anyway. And, you know, just see me talking with my daughter in a different light, you know.
Right. Yeah, she's a good person. She was very helpful.
She can do it because she had to take time off to do this.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, she'd have to take time off work.
You know, she's manager.
Yeah. We talked about that. Well, I'll talk to her. Maybe one of these days we can set it up again. I'd love to have you back on. But I read something on your website that you wrote about for people to have a toast for you after you're gone, and I was thinking, you know what? I've been
Danny Soprano,
yeah, I've been listening to this guy sing, and you just totally threw me back when I saw you on Midnight Special the first time. And I've been thinking, I've been listening to this guy all these years, and I don't want to wait till he's gone to toast. So this is to you. All right, here you go, my friend. And I'm going to do this now. And I want to say to you, like the great philosopher Leonard Nimoy said, may you live long and prosper.
I have already, and I will continue to do so.
There you go, Jim.
This is all of my wives and girlfriends who may they never meet.
Jim, it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure having you on. It's great to see you in person.
I always go far. They say how far is far enough. Well, I don't know when I've gone far enough till I've gone too far, but at least then I'm sure. So I know you got more than you needed. But
well, let me tell you,
I need an outlet for a little while.
if you don't make it to Dallas soon, I may have to make a trip to Black Oak or Memphis because
oh yes,
I would love to meet you in person.
Well, yeah, it's so exciting though. It's hard to deal with the excitement of some doggy downers or something, because where I come from, it's really
Yeah. It's a hopping place, man. It's a happening place.
Those people, more than anybody, it's hard to explain to them. What they saw up on 40 by 40 foot stage, they couldn't even conceive how I could go up there and do that. And
Yeah.
they asked me, how did you do it? I said, I guess divine intervention had to do it. I don't know. They threw me out there. It's like my dad taught me how to swim. Told me in diving area and said, swim. I thought, better learn how to underwater first, right?
Well, you did a great job. You're still doing it. I appreciate your time so much. I hope to have you on again. And one more time, thanks, Jim Dandy.
Anytime you want to, DC.
Thank you very much, sir.
Oh,
Yes.
this one, I'll do it again.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. I'm looking forward to it already.
All right, brother.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Behave, whatever behave is.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you, sir. All right, guys. Damn. All I want to say is go, Jim Dandy, go.
I've been gone. I think I better come back now.
Guys, that was James Mangrum, a.k.a. Jim Dandy of Black Oak, Arkansas. What an honor to have him on today. Remember that all of my content is on YouTube. Just search Barside Jive Live. And please subscribe while you're there. It's real easy to do. I want to thank Jay and Jimmy for all the work they do in production behind the scenes to make these shows possible. And guys, we are out of here. We appreciate you hanging out with us this evening, and we hope you got home safely. We do appreciate your support of what we're doing here and hope that you'll share us with your friends and your followers. And until next time, all we ask is that you be kind to one another, keep it real, and keep on rocking. And I'm going to close the show with one more song from Black Oak, Arkansas, Hot Rod. You ready, Jay?
Well, I think it's time we just jump in that hot rod and just see how fast we can go.
mercy.
That's BarsideJiveLive.com.
The zoo gives you rock for the senses. Lows that evolve into highs that pierce. Feel the rock on 98 KZEW, Dallas, Fort Worth.